Hi, my name is Danielle Krausse. I'm going to be talking about training staff on the prompt hierarchy. Okay, so first, what is a prompt? A prompt is something that cues the learner to engage in a response. Prompts can either be instructions, gestures, demonstrations, touching an item, or other things that we use to aid in helping our client or child and helps them more likely to engage in a response. According to Collins 2018, prompting can facilitate appropriate behavior by increasing the pace of instruction, which is more likely to maintain a student's attention and reduce their frustration when a student does not know how to respond. So we use prompts to aid our clients or our children to help them engage in the correct response. Why do we use prompting? Like I said, prompting helps aid individuals to engage in a correct response, and it helps decrease those challenging behaviors that may be caused due to different functions, whether they're escape and they're trying to get out of the task. It may help them decrease that challenging behavior and the frustration level that they're seeing. Also, according to Collins, prompting can facilitate appropriate behavior by increasing the pace of instruction, which is more likely to maintain a student's attention and reduce their frustration when a student does not know how to respond. So when we ask a student a question like touch dog or give me dog, if the student doesn't know the response or the client doesn't know the response, waiting them out for a response may cause frustration. By aiding in the prompting and helping them select a correct response, it's more likely to increase the pace of the session and to decrease the challenging behavior and that frustration. So types of prompts, we have visual, verbal, gestural, modeling, partial, and full physical. And then looking at this prompt hierarchy here, we have least to most prompting, which we start at an independent level. That is the individual giving an independent response to the SD. Or if I am giving the cue, the individual responds without any prompting. The next step in least to most prompting will be like a visual. It could be something highlighted. It could be a visual schedule that aids the learner in their next steps. A verbal would be after I give that initial SD. If I say touch dog, they may not touch dog right away. So I may go into the next, which may be touch, and then they might touch dog. They may need that additional verbal. For gestural, we might have 3 pictures shown, or the client may be washing their hands and they may need a gestural prompt for the next step. You may have to gesture towards the sink or gesture towards the next icon that they need to grab. Modeling can be I do, you do. So I'm going to clap my hands first. My turn, and then the client is going to clap their hands afterwards. I'm modeling, clapping hands, and then the client will follow after. Partial physical, touching the elbow or slightly physically prompting under the arm to assist in engaging in the correct response. And then followed by full physical, which is hand over hand. The client or individual may need a full assistance to engage in that prompt to get the correct response. So starting with least to most, you do the least intrusive prompt and go up to the most intrusive. Most to least, maybe instances if you're doing a backward chain and you're doing most to least prompting, they may need that assistance for the first prompt for a full physical, and then you'll work your way down and go from full to partial physical to modeling to gestural to verbal to visual until you get that independent response. So I'm going to go over each type of prompt. A visual prompt, like I said, a visual prompt can be a picture or a cue that the client or the child sees. In the morning, the child may come into the classroom and I say, may get your morning routine started. They may have a visual of what they need to do first. They may need to open their locker and then put their backpack away and then take out their lunch. This visual aids them in the next steps of what they need to do. It can also be a photograph, a flashing card with the right answer. Those are all visual prompts. A verbal prompt involves telling the learner the answer, giving a verbal cue. It could be the beginning sound of the answer or giving the direction more than once. If I said, touch dog, and I'm waiting that time delay to see if the learner is going to independently touch dog, and if they don't, I may say, touch dog again, and then the learner may need that additional verbal prompt. Gestural prompts. Using a gesture of any type of action the learner can observe the instructor doing. So this could include pointing to the correct picture, reaching, or even nodding. In some cases, I even do, if I'm doing like a one-to-one correspondence goal, and I say, give me 1 or give me 2, and then putting my hand out for the learner to count into that. They may be even prompt dependent on that gesture. They may not respond until I put my hand out, and then they give me the manipulatives or the items to put in my hand. So gesturing to the correct answer. This is giving information to the learner about the correct response. Touch dog, and I immediately go to dog and they grab the correct picture. Modeling prompt, this type of prompt involves the instructor acting out the prompt first and then asking the client to repeat the task or the skill. So this could be, I do, I'm gonna clap my hands, and then you do, and then the client is gonna clap their hands. Partial physical, the instructor provides some type of physical aid or assistance to help guide the learner through the activity. It is less intrusive than using a full physical prompt. An example could be touching an elbow to get the learner to engage in the correct response. Sometimes a lot of this is used when teaching toothbrushing skills or washing your hands. If they need that more physical of the next step, you might start with the elbow or the forearm, but you're not doing the full physical. This is just a partial to aid to help them engage in the correct response. And then finally, the full physical prompt. This is also known as hand over hand. The prompt completely uses physical guiding of the learner's hands to complete the task. This could be hand washing like in the photo, or if I'm doing that one-to-one correspondence again and I need them to count the number of items one by one, I may teach it by having a full physical prompt, hand over hand, of picking up the items and counting with them. Pick up, give me 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I might fade back that prompt and go to a partial physical if I'm doing most to least, to get them to engage in the correct response. So most to least prompting consists of a teacher placing his or her hands over the learner's hands to guide the learner through the initial training trial. This is by Libby 2008, and it is the most intrusive prompt again. Like I said, why are prompts so important? We use prompts when placing demands or teaching new skills. Staff should be able to use the prompt hierarchy effectively, and this gives the individual or the client an opportunity to comply independently before using any additional prompts. Consistency and use of the prompt hierarchy across settings and individuals does help with generalizing these skills, and it does help increase their independence and prevent the occurrences of challenging behaviors. And then my references, I use the Collins article, Response Prompting as an ABA Instructional Approach for Teaching Students with Disabilities, Cooper, Heron, Heward, 2020, Libby, a comparison most to least and least to most prompting, and Netzel, Steps for Implementation of Least to Most Prompting. Thank you guys so much. I hope this helped you in learning the different levels of prompting and how to use them.